Hi everybody, it's Maxine coming from Unlocking the Fearless You, and today, as you can see, I'm with Deborah Chester, and Deborah was meant to be with me on Thursday, and we had some technical difficulties, and the reasons why I've still got these up is because it was my birthday one, and with my birthday one we was going to be talking about loads of different things, and yeah, and we had nothing but technical difficulties the whole time. I mean, literally from Be Live to Facebook to everything. So we're back today. It's normally Tuesday and Thursday, but I'm here, but it's unscheduled, but we're here today. So Deborah, thank you so much for taking up some more of your time, my lovely.
Oh, you're welcome. Hi everybody.
Oh, we've got people on already. That's what I like to see. Right, inspired to achieve global TV. You've got your you're on here, but you've not put who you are. So you need to put who you are if you're not going to go under your own name, just so we know who you are. That'd be amazing. And we've got Adam is back. Adam comes every single time that I'm here, which is amazing. Adam couldn't come on Thursday, so he's here today. So you never know, he might have been the person too. So it's a ladies of the hour today, ladies of the hour. So Deborah Chester, she is a lady that's, well, she wowed me, let's put it that way. Now, obviously we went through some of the interview, but we're going to start from scratch, so then you all get to see everything. Now with Deborah is, I met Deborah, was it September time?
Yeah.
In September,
yeah.
Yes you can. Yeah, and Deborah told us her story, and I was absolutely gobsmacked. You know, and it was like, I can't believe what you've gone through and to where you are today, and the amount of time it took you to do everything that you've done. I just think it's absolutely amazing. And I thought, well, you know, your story that you've gone through, if you can put that to some of the people out here, you know, that is going to help them like tenfold. I think it's absolutely amazing. So this is the reason why we're here. It's Richard. Fantastic, Richard. Nice to see you on here, my lovely. Okay, so we're going to get into the broadcast because we want to make sure everything's working okay today. Right, so Richard, well done for your show, my lovely. That's what I like to see. Okay, so Unlocking the Fearless You with Deborah Chester and Maxine English. So Deborah, I'm going to get you to talk about your life story of from when you was obviously quite a lot younger, and I know that you was called the Dreamer at school, and with the Dreamer is that you've gone through so many things even as a youngster, and then you started up your own business even when you was 15. So tell the audience exactly your entrepreneurship started so early.
Gosh, when I was at school, I actually suffered from undiagnosed dyslexia, and I always felt as if I couldn't do what other children did at school. I was always on my report, it was always she could do better or try harder. And it wasn't until I left school that I actually really started doing something for me. I realised that, you know, I wasn't going to be out there working for somebody else. It was me that I wanted to work for. So I actually started at 15 a clothes party business. I went to my dad and asked him if he could loan me some money, and went through the yellow pages and just picked out some wholesalers. And when he was having a business meeting in Nottingham, I asked him if he could take me around these wholesalers while he had his meeting. So he dropped me off. I went and I brought quite a few things, and I resold them on, doing party planning at weekends. So it lasted for a few years, and then obviously I went to be an assistant manager and just do all different things. But family members often said to me that I was a bit of a dreamer, and it's really, really, really weird because now later on in my life, I've had dreams that obviously have come true, and I don't mind called the dreamer because I believe every dream out there has to come from a great dreamer. And if I hadn't had my dreams, no way would I have invented a product, and I wouldn't be where I am today in business.
Oh, you still there? You went a bit pixelated at the last couple of seconds, but I did get what you heard. That's fine. So for any of you that are out there with Deborah, I didn't go in a lot of intro with Deborah because obviously I want you to listen to some of her story. Now, Deborah is not only got a massive story that is absolutely amazing. Now, there is so many different areas to Deborah that it's brilliant, because not only is she an entrepreneur from the age of 15, but she just told you exactly what she did. So if any of you out there are thinking that I'd really like to start my business, but don't know where to start, she's just told you exactly what she did at 15. So Deborah is an entrepreneur, and she's going to tell you a bit more about your business, about her business, I should say, not yours. She's also a multimillionaire that literally self-made, literally on her own and her husband. So she's going to tell you all about that. She's an inventor. She's invented, obviously we're going to talk about it. This is what I mean. I don't want to talk too much into it. And the adversity that she's gone through, she's gone from literally nothing to what she's become today. And this is the reason why I didn't give you a big intro, because I know the words that you're going to say. It's like when someone turns around and says, oh, try and sell me something. I don't need to sell you, Deborah, because I know for what you're going to tell people today, you're going to sell yourself. There is no need to actually sell you in any way, because I just think that what you've got to tell people is brilliant. And I'm so happy that there's so many viewers on that are actually going to listen to you today. And I'm so glad that you've been able to come back. So from being the dreamer at school, and obviously you suffered with dyslexia, so you had a bit of a problem when it come down to obviously your English and understanding words and everything else. And you did your clothesline business, and it worked out really well for you. Now, after that happened, you had a bit of a problem, didn't you? You had an accident. So what happened?
I did. I had a horse riding accident, and it was pretty bad. I was concussed. I couldn't remember my children's names. I had my phone in my chaps. It was actually on vibrate, and I was breaking in a horse, and it took off with me. And I got my foot stuck in the stirrup, and my head was bouncing across the ground. I broke a few ribs, broke the bottom of my coccyx in my back, and it was really weird because Chris never had a day off work in 8 years, and he decided this one morning that he would actually come with me. He says, I've got a funny feeling I need to be there. And luckily he was, because I was laying unconscious in the middle of the field, and he was actually reading the paper in the car, and he looked up, and if he hadn't been there, I would have actually died. I was rushed to Louth Hospital, and then from Louth I was transferred to Lincoln. I couldn't remember the children's names for a while, and we decided that the move to New Zealand was going to be to help us relax more and not take too much more on. And so we ended up moving to New Zealand.
So you and Chris, which is obviously your husband, you're very much in tune with each other, aren't you, in what you do and the way you are around each other. And a lot of people, it's like I was talking to Chinda last week, and we was talking about when people get married or their partners, and that they don't put things into their relationship as they should. And the thing is with you, I mean, I've obviously seen Chris with you, and it's very much that you are so in tune with each other, and for him to take that day off because he knew something was going to happen, and as you said, you would have been dead today, if he would have been there for you. And how hard was it that the fact is that, and how long was it as well that you was in the hospital and you couldn't even remember your own children's names?
So it was a few weeks, and then I was obviously come out of hospital. And then it was just all system goes from there, really. It was sort of a bit of a whirlwind from speaking to Chris's boss, because his sister had moved out to New Zealand about 20 years beforehand. And Chris says, oh my gosh, he's just got back off holiday. He's had a fantastic time. That's where we're going. We're moving to New Zealand. And it was like, what? And I thought, he's right. We're working so hard. We need to get out of here. And, there was obviously other things going on at the time. And we just said, let's make the move. So me, Chris, and the 3 children packed everything up and moved to New Zealand. And that was 16 years ago.
How long ago was that? It sort of cut out.
Sorry, that was 16 years ago.
16 years ago. So how did you find the New Zealand move? I mean, you've gone from your whole life here, all your family, everything you've built up around your life, and literally just chop everything and go, we're going there. Of all the places in all the world, why go so far?
And I think really that was because of Chris's boss had just been over to see his sister and come back and said what a beautiful place it was. And I think Chris was just like, we need to get a new life. We need to do something and go. And I think that was the first thing that come out of his mouth. And So it was from then that we said, well, look, we'll go, we'll give it a couple of years. If we don't like it, what have we lost? We'll have a 2-year holiday and we're going to come back and carry on. But we got out there and, you know, we enjoyed it, and we just kept working and working. In fact, we ended up working probably 5 times harder than we ever worked in the UK to obviously build what we'll talk about later. And that's how it all happened.
Right, okay. So Adam has put, always learn to turn a negative into a positive. It's exactly that, Adam. I tell you that every week at least, and I want to make sure that that goes in there and it stays in there. Every negative is always a positive. And Jeremy, thank you very much for joining in. He says good evening, and perhaps are you having a few drinks? I think we need a few drinks.
Yeah, absolutely. I think onto that. Not that there's anything in there apart from bitter lemon.
Yeah, we need a few drinks. This is, guys, just so you know, the reason why what happened on Thursday, Deborah was one of my special guests for my birthday broadcast. And what actually happened is we put it onto Be Live TV, and we had a few technical issues that Be Live just decided just to stop the broadcast and wouldn't let me do it. So we went onto Facebook, and we did it on Facebook, and it wouldn't let her come onto the broadcast. It wouldn't let me add her. So then we went back onto Be Live, and after 10 minutes of us actually doing the interview, it cut us off again. So it's very much that me and Deborah have gone through this like 3 times already. So this is the first time you've heard it. But if you do have any questions for Deborah, then obviously you're more than welcome to put them on there, because it's absolutely amazing. I mean, she's got a mine of information that we are going to go through. But what we're trying to do is get a little bit of background on Deborah, because at the end of the day, she's a normal person just like me and you. And she's an absolute amazing star. But not only that, it's the fact that she got me a birthday cake. All right, she had to eat it because I didn't see her. But she did get me a nice birthday cake, and it did look absolutely stunning, and it was lovely. So you went to New Zealand, Deborah. And how long you'd been there until all your dreams started happening? Because, you know, as you said earlier, you started having dreams.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I think the first dream that I'd ever had that actually came true was obviously about tornadoes, which I never expected them to come true. But we moved over to New Zealand and obviously set up business. We owned a bar over there, and that was all set up why the tornadoes was happening. So obviously we can talk about tornadoes later. So that business didn't really go too much further than the tornadoes. We had so much more to you know, put our mind and effort and everything else into. But I would say 10 years before things really started to move forward for us.
You still there?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So you just stopped then, just making sure that, you know, you didn't cut out anything. So when you had your dream of the tornadoes, and you know, I'm not going to go into it. I'm going to let you tell the story, because I was absolutely gobsmacked of what you've been through and the adversity that you went through with the tornadoes. I mean, you and Chris decided to move with 3 children, pack up everything and go to the other side of the world, away from all your friends and family. Not only that, is that a massive move, and then obviously try and build businesses in New Zealand. Is you then had this dream about a tornado, and what was the dream that you had?
Well, I actually woke up one morning and I had this nightmare really of these two tornadoes coming into the house. And I woke Chris up and said, oh gosh, I've had the worst dream ever. It was so real. And he just said, as a man would, go back to sleep and don't think about it. It's because you're working so hard. And so that's what I did. I went back to sleep, didn't really think too much about it until the next morning, when it's one of dreams that stays with you. And it stayed with me for a while. Chris was working away for a couple of weeks. A couple of days later in a little place called Patararu. And so I was working in the office, and Paige, my daughter, actually came running into me, and she was shouting, Mummy, Mummy, what's going on outside? And as I looked out, I actually saw 2 tornadoes coming towards us. And I only had enough time to pick up my 2 daughters and run to the part of the house where we was in the dream. And it was the only part of the house. It was the only part of the house that survived, and I laid my body.
Sorry, my lovely. It's an amazing story, and if at the end of the day, if you feel it in your heart, you don't have to be sorry about it.
I laid my body over my 2 girls, and they just screamed, "Mummy, Mummy, we're going to die." And I said, "No, no, we're not going to die. We're going to be just fine." And in the dream, we was fine, but obviously I wasn't thinking about the dream apart from getting the girls to safety. The first tornado came and it took the top of the house off, and the second tornado come, sucking everything else up in its path. So we actually lost everything that night. All our materialistic things was gone. And the only thing that we had was the clothes we were stood up in. We was homeless. So I was in New Zealand. Chris was working away. I was in a house that was crumbling around me with my 2 daughters, and we ended up going to live with some friends for a few months. We got ourselves back up and sorted out. My daughters had gone through counselling and everything else, and we ended up moving to Auckland after we'd got ourselves back on our feet, and we set up a flooring business. But before that, Chris, my husband, had a dream about me curbing his car wheels. And it was like that light bulb came on. It was sort of, gosh, he's had this dream. And I've had this dream. And if I hadn't had the tornado dream, I would have never listened to his dream. We need to do something. So I sat down with a pen and a piece of paper, and I designed a product that would actually go onto car wheels to stop curb damage. And so I invented a product called Rim Protect, which is now gone worldwide. But I had to work with both, myself and Chris had to build up a flooring business in between this time because we had no money. I had 43 cents in the bank after losing the house. And so we built this flooring business up. We got our first job with a company called Giltrap Motors in Auckland. And we started from there. We was working 17 hours a day, 7 days a week, non-stop, to get the money to patent the product. And so that's where the whole story goes, and that's how obviously the invention came about. And we worked solid, you know, blood, sweat and tears, like no other. We had people trying to take things from us, thinking, you know, seeing the green-eyed monster, thinking, oh, this is fantastic. And it does, it happens in business. You know, you're riding the wave all the time. As soon as you go up on that wave, you're celebrating, and then come down as quick as you can come down. But you just get back up and you have faith. And the amount of times I was on my knees from that first moment of the tornado, that was the first time that I actually realised what faith was all about. And I actually put everything that moment into praying that me and my daughters would survive what was happening. And faith is when you can't turn around anymore. You get to your rock bottom, and the only thing you can do is go, please God, please help me, because, you know, I can't help me. I can't help this situation that I'm in. And so many people have this and do this in their life. So having faith was a really big thing for us. So we moved to Auckland. The girls was all good, all settling in. There was another tornado happening in Auckland, just outside my daughter's school, Madison, which was horrendous because obviously she was the one suffering from post-traumatic stress from the first tornado. So we had a lot to deal with counselling and everything else. But that's really the story about the invention and how the tornadoes and the dream led us to inventing a product that's gone worldwide.
Okay, so
I apologise for getting emotional.
No, you don't have to apologise for getting emotional at all. You even got me a few tears, love. So, you know, you don't have to apologise, you know, for something that you felt. I mean, ladies and gents, you imagine, put yourself in Deborah's shoes. You imagine that it's just you and your 2 children, or how many children that you've got, that are in a house, and you've got a tornado rushing towards it. I'm sorry if I'm going to make you cry now, Deborah. Get your tissue out, love.
Oh, sorry, I know.
Right, so ladies and gents, you imagine, so you've got this tornado rushing towards you, right? and you've got nowhere to go. You've got nowhere that you can be. You can't run away from it. You've got to stick and you've got to stay it out. And the thing is, you do is you go in this one place that you've had a dream about, the one place that was a safe place in your dream. And what you've done is you've put yourself back in that place. This dream has just gone straight into reality and gone, I need to get to this safe place that was in my dream. And you walk into that safe place and you have your children underneath you and you're covering your children with your body to save their life. Now, put yourself in that situation that Deborah did. Put yourself in a situation that as that tornado, the sounds, it must have sounded like a jet engine going through that house like anything, right? It's the fact is that you've got to sit there and think about the feelings, the thoughts. And as she said, with all the praying that she did, please save me and my children, and then when you look up, all you can see is stars because the actual tornado took your whole house. It took every single belonging that you have in your life. And all you've got is yourself and your 2 children. Yes, you can have gratitude that you're still alive. It's absolutely amazing that the fact is that, all that praying that you did, you were left alone. You was there. You was in that bubble. You was in that cocoon to say, you can't touch me. But you can imagine at the end of that night, the end of that day, whenever it was, can you imagine you standing up? You've got 2 young children. One's turning around and saying, are you going to die? I've been in that situation where my daughter turned and said, are you going to die? And that is heart-wrenching. Absolutely, it takes it out of you. Right. And the fact is, for her to go through that and be left with 43 cents in her pocket, have nowhere to live, nowhere to go, no money, no nothing. And then she has to sleep on people's sofas for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 months until she gets herself on her feet. This is an amazing thing to go through, and the amount of adversity that she's gone through with that. And obviously, when you were saying about Madison, when that she's now going through PTSD with it, and how hard is that to go through, Deborah? I mean, that's your baby. I know how it feels with my daughter, where she goes through her ADHD and Tourette's because of what she's seen and the trauma she's seen. But what is it like with PTSD? I mean, what is it she's like as a person?
I think out of everything, that was the worst thing that I've ever had to deal with. Not knowing which way to turn, not knowing how I can help. That's, being a mum as well. And, I put a lot of pressure on myself building the flooring business, as well as, Madison suffering from the post-traumatic stress. And I can't even tell you, it is the most horrendous thing. And there's just not enough people out there that people like mums and dads and family members can turn to for advice. There's just nothing. We couldn't find anything, and we had to really do just a bit of advice off Google and try and make things better ourselves, because you just don't know whether you're doing the right thing or the wrong thing. And luckily now she's really coming out the other side with we're just so blessed that that's the case, because there's so many people that haven't got that support, that really needs that support with post-traumatic stress. It's so much of it, around these days, because there's so much pressure on people. Things really need to change, and parents need to be educated about it, because you just can't find anything and nobody there to educate you, to know how to look after your child when they've got this. And it's heart-wrenching. It's horrendous to see your child not want to leave their bedroom, and have to go to breathing coaches because they stop breathing because of anxiety. It's just not nice.
My daughter's going through anxiety at the moment, and the last 2 weeks it's coming to more, because where she's going through adolescence, she's going through her puberty and everything else, it's very much that her tablets aren't working. So when you're saying about going through anxiety, she's getting to the point that her throat's closing up because she's panicking, and yeah. I see the panic on her face, that she can't breathe. And and I could only imagine about what you're going through and the feelings that she, that your daughter has, and what she's been through. And that is such a hard thing. But it's so ironic in the fact is that you had that dream about, when you was asleep, you had the dream about you being in that one particular place that you knew you was going to be safe. Now, do you look at it that it's a coincidence? Because I wouldn't. Someone was obviously looking after you to say, look, this is coming up. This is what you got to do. Remember it when it's the right time. And exactly the same, yeah. And exactly the same when Chris said that you had about the horse riding accident, he just knew.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you've always been looked after, and that's the thing. It's such an amazing thing. And me and Deborah were actually saying about, all the things that happened on Thursday, and I actually said to Deborah, I said, like, all the things that have happened to you in your past that you've been given signs of. And then on Thursday we couldn't go through our live at all, no matter what happened. It got stopped. And I turned and said to you, didn't I, that it's somebody that wasn't online on Thursday that needed to hear what you'd gone through, or they're going through the same thing and they don't know what to do with it. And the fact is that today we've been able to do it, everything's working absolutely fine. And now you turned around and said to me that you met a person over the weekend that you think that what you're talking about today could quite easily help them. And it's such an amazing thing when you get that kind of insight. Don't you agree?
Absolutely. Your intuition, and you are guided by signs. And, it took me a while to actually realise that, but obviously I'm writing a book, and, a lot of that is to do with intuition and signs throughout our whole business. I've never invented a product. I'm no engineer, but I actually had this idea, and I sat there and drew the drawings of what I wanted to take to the market. There was no patents out there with this product. I actually have now 100 patents and trademarks around the world on this product. But why all these signs? But I probably wouldn't have listened too much if I hadn't have had that dream in the first place. Where we stood up there, we've got nothing left. And I think it also led me to take more risk. Because I thought, well, what have we got? The only thing we've got is our hands. We actually got to work hard for the finance. Let's get out there and risk it. Let's risk everything we've got to get to where we've got. And, the higher the risk, the bigger the reward, so they say. And it's been, it's not been an easy journey. And if anybody's out there wants to start business and think it's going to be easy, I'll tell you now, it's not. There's no get rich quick scheme out there. You are going to have to work, and you are going to have to sweat, blood, sweat and tears to get everything you want if you want to do something extra special.
And when you sat down, you said that after Christopher had his dream and he come down and told you about the dream that he'd had, and you sat down with a pen and paper and you started drawing, and obviously you was talking about Rim Protec. What made you come up with that idea rather than anything else?
Gosh, it's a really strange story, actually. I was actually doing the children's pack lunches, and we'd already designed a product that we could potentially take to the market. And I was doing the children's pack lunches, and the Clip It food bags. It sounds bizarre, but on one side it was blue, and on one side it was yellow. You have to run your little hand through off to get the air out and seal the sandwich. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, what if we can actually do an interchangeable product where the customer can actually put the product on the wheel and change the colours, or even clip out the insert when they've curbed the product. So that's what we did. We went to the drawing board, and we actually developed a product that would fit all size wheels, from a 12 to a 22-inch wheel, with an interchangeable coloured pinstripe. So if you curb the product, you can just take the pinstripe out in seconds and replace it. So you're not having to have your wheels refurbished. And so that's how it really all came about. From obviously we had the original idea, but once we had the Clip It food bag in our hand, it was like, right, this is going to be the product we take to the market globally. So, yeah.
Brilliant. So if you've got somebody, I mean, obviously you've done Rim Protec. If you've got somebody that's had these really good ideas and invented something and they don't know what to do with it, what would they do next? So, I imagine there's a lot of people out there, they've got these ideas, but just don't know where to start.
Gosh, yeah. So the first thing that I would suggest you do is obviously put your drawings together. And I would try, and you can't obviously safeguard a patent until you have a fully granted patent. But what you can do is you can actually do the drawings, and then you can put a provisional patent in. So it's minimal cost, really. You're looking at a few £100 to put a provisional patent in, which will give you about 12 to 18 months So you can actually design your product that you're working on, but this will give you a priority date. So if anybody does bring something out that's similar to yours, you can still go back to that priority date once you have had your patents fully granted. So that's where I would start. And then this will give you time to put a prototype together. If you've not got finance, to look for funding. Obviously, we didn't have the finance, but we'd started another business alongside, so we could actually keep hold of the product ourselves 100%. So we was working the flooring business in the day and Rim Protect at night, and that's why I was working 17 hours a day. And obviously, silly thing to do sometimes, especially when you get ill health through it. But so I wouldn't recommend that. But you know, you can go for obviously finance, or you can do it yourself.
But I wouldn't. Deborah, she's cut herself out there. We'll wait until she comes back on. So basically, what's happened for anybody that's just come on, we talked about Deborah with her being a dreamer, and that the fact is that she started. You know, she left school at 15. She struggled with all her school because of her dyslexia. It's very much, she was born in the UK, and you know, she comes from Nottingham, and she had her first business at 15, and she was selling clothes. And she looked through the yellow pages, and she looked for some wholesalers, and Dad gave us some money, and she just went to the wholesalers, bought some clothes, and started selling them. And that was her very, very first business. Now, you know, for a 15-year-old to have that kind of intuition to just go out and do that kind of business, that is basically what it's all about. You know, you know, some people struggle to get in business. Some people are scared. You know, some people sit and go, yeah, but what if it goes wrong? And you know what? It's not about if it goes wrong. It's what if it goes right? And that's not the problem. You know, the problem is people just, they think too much about all these different things that could happen. And what you've got to do is you've got to take action. And at 15, you haven't got that flight or fight response yet. It is literally, I want to do this, I'm going to go and do it. It's only until you get obviously a little bit older, like you get into like your late teens, your 20s, your 30s, and you sit there and think, you know, can I really do this? And the thing is, she did that from 15. So if there's anybody out there that actually wants, you know, to actually start up their own business, the best thing to do is don't think about it. Just make sure you know what you're doing, you've done a bit of market research, and then just go do it. You know, and just as long as you've got a bit of money behind you, and that's basically what it's about. And then we talked about Deborah with a horse riding accident. You know, the one day in absolutely years that her husband takes a day off of work, and then basically from the day that he takes off of work is the day that she has a horse riding accident. I mean, how strange is that? I mean, coincidence? Are we talking X-Files going on here? So yeah, so that, you know, and without that, she would have been dead. She would have been dead in the field. You know, she was unconscious, she was bleeding. You know, she had broken bones, and you could just imagine that no one would have found her until later on that evening, or even her husband might not have even known where she was. So that's the thing. It's like, you know, that was such a coincidence. That the fact is that he felt that he had to be at home with her, and it's good to have that kind of connection with somebody. So after she had the horse riding accident, you know, they thought they needed a bit of a change. They needed to make sure that, you know, that everything was working out really well with them. And she, look, even my camera's going a bit funny today. I don't know what's going on. Let me see if I can clean you up a bit. No, it's a bit grainy, so I do apologise, guys. It's as you can see, technical difficulties still happening. Yeah. So then what happened is then they packed up. Herself, her husband, Chris, and the 3 children packed up and went to New Zealand, left all their friends and family behind, and basically with that they just started a whole fresh new life. Something, you know, that you just think, you know what, I'm just going to go do it. And that's what she did. And thinking that her life was going to be absolutely amazing, you know, and she's been there the last 16 years in New Zealand. And after 10 years, she started getting this dream about a tornado. And with the tornadoes, right, I'm going to keep talking until she comes back in. So, you know, you got me here. Yeah, so, you know, after 10 years of living in New Zealand, that's where the tornado hit. And she lost every single thing. Every single thing in her life was gone. You imagine 43 cents or 43p to us in your pocket with no house, no belongings, no photos, no nothing. Literally all you've got is her laying over her children. And with that, it is such a hard thing to imagine. And the noise must have been, well, absolutely huge. And it would be such a hard thing to go through. Yeah, she's back in. She's back in. Hang on. She's coming up. There she is.
I don't know what's going on. I really don't.
And I can see you a lot better now as well. So obviously that's rectified itself. So that's all good. That obviously needed to happen. It happens for a reason. So you obviously got something good coming up. Yeah. So what we were just saying about we were just going through obviously what you went through when it come down to the tornado and obviously where you laying over the children. Now, after that happened, you showed me your gratitude rock, didn't you?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I actually have a rock and I also have a seed. So this is my seed. It's a seed from Fiji. And after the tornado, I was just so grateful. I didn't care about any materialistic things. That just didn't matter. And it made me actually start thinking about life in a different way completely. What I did care about is that I was still alive and I've got my family that was still alive too. And anything else we can start again, you know. So I actually have this gratitude seed. And this stayed with me every single day in my pocket. And I learnt to actually, every time I put my hand in my pocket for some change or my keys or something, I would actually feel this. And I would be grateful for every single thing I had around me at that time, whether it be my children, my shoes I was wearing so I could walk somewhere, and anything possible. You just got to be grateful. And that's where it started. So, and I think everybody should have something like this, either a gratitude seed or a gratitude rock that they can just have with them all the time. We've gone around the world on business trips and everything else. And if we see somebody that's struggling with a little bit of depression or just struggling with something in their life, we actually go and either buy them something that they can put in their pocket. So every time they put their hand in their pocket, they can be grateful, because that's where it starts. As soon as you start being grateful, things in your life start to change for you. And it is amazing. This is something that everybody needs to do, because your life will change. And, you know, take it from me, the person that was stood there with just the clothes that I'd got on. And, you know, I didn't know the first thing about being grateful or how to do this, but this was the best thing that I ever could have put in my pocket, and it goes with me everywhere. So be grateful and have a gratitude seed in your pocket, so you just know.
Well, there you go. There you go. I've got feedback. Have you got something else on?
Say again.
Have you got music on?
No.
No, I've got a bit of feedback. Has anybody else hear the feedback as well? If you can, let me know. I've not changed anything my end, but obviously sometimes technical issues do come up. So I just put in something up about Will. Powerless over thought. Sometimes it's kind of pointless to worry. If you don't have faith and belief in what you're doing, then you make a start to change. You guys are awesome. You remind me of the recovery network helping each other. Well, that is exactly that. It is very much that, you know, the reasons why, you know, I do the Unlocking the Fearless You, because it's all about the fears that you've had in your life, overcoming, you know, your confidence, overcoming your self-esteem issues. You know, it's all about bringing yourself up and us showing you how to do that. You know, Deborah's already shared her story of adversity of what she's gone through, and also, you know, the inventions and what to do next. And the thing is, when it comes down to, like with you, Will, I mean, I know some of your story, and the thing is, get yourself a gratitude rock, you know, because at the end of the day, for everything that you've gone through in your life, it's very much that you can see where you are today. You're alive, you're well, you're walking forward, and you're overcoming a lot of things. And the thing is, you've overcome so much already, and you've just got to keep moving them forward one step at a time. That goes for all of you. One step at a time is all it takes. Yeah, it's not about reaching your goal like from here to the here. And if you don't get that straight away, it's like, you know, oh, what was the point? It is all about doing that one step at a time. It's all about taking that brick away, one brick at a time. Whatever it is in your life, it is all about doing it one step at a time. And don't ever forget that. And when Deborah did her business, you know, she had to work 17 hours a day. She was working 7 days a week, and she was working really hard just to make sure that she could take one step at a time to go on to the process of, you know, going from 43 cents to building her business, to going and laying floors, to doing her the pictures and everything else and all the drawings that you was doing, and to go through the inventions, to go through the patents, to go through everything before it even went into being manufactured and being sorted after. So there is so many things there that you have to do. But as I said to you all before, the best thing to do is put a visionary board up, because by putting a visionary board up, you can see where you want to get to. But if you do, like, you know, you do your timeline, make sure that where you are today, all the things that you've got to do in between to get there, and what your goal is, and then literally go through them timeline one bit at a time. And that's exactly what Deborah's done. You know, she's gone through her timeline and she is where she is today, and it's absolutely amazing. And we're going to go through the next step of that in a second. So we've got here, we've also got Ryan's put, go Deborah, hope your collection returns. She's back, she's here. We've got Will's put, gratitude is key for recovering, inspiration and achieving dreams of life. And that is exactly that, Will. It is all about that. Adam's put, we all have a dream, it's what we are going to do about it that reaches our goal. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Will's put, with a 12-step program I work a list of gratitudes each evening, one at a time. Brilliant. And that's basically exactly what it's all about, one thing at a time. And that's what you've got to not forget. You know, if at any time you do forget of all the things that you've gone through already, write them down. You know, if you feel like that your life is stagnating, you're getting nowhere, write down all the good things that have happened to you, write down of all the positive things that have happened to you, and read over them. You know, and by doing that, you'll then go, actually, my life has not gone stagnant. I've done this, and you know, and the list goes on. So always think positively, no matter what you do, and it will make you walk forward, wouldn't it, Deborah? It's all about positive attitude. Absolutely,
positivity is the key to everything. You know, you don't want to be having negativity around you at all. Even if you've got negative people in your life, you'll find that it rubs off on you. You need to actually take yourself out of that. Take yourself out of the situation and start thinking positive. You know, put positive things on you know, the radio in the morning. As soon as you get up in the morning, put a positive song on. You know, it's amazing how it can start affecting your mind. And then you'll realise that you only want to be around positivity. All the naysayers and the backbiting and everything else doesn't even come into the equation anymore. You're not bothered about all that. You just concentrate on being positive, and it changes your life completely.
Yeah, and I completely understand that, because I mean, back in the day before business, it was like I had a lot of negative people around me. And I've noticed that as I've grown as a person, and as I've grown from being through my adversities, and as I've grown through my business, that the negative people around me, I just don't particularly want to talk to. I'm just like, oh, I just can't deal with it.
Absolutely. It does it starts making a difference.
It does, completely, 100%. Right, so let's go to your next bit. So obviously we've gone through your inventions and what to do next if you've got an invention, and then you went to Rim Protect, which is your business and what you do, where you clip on, and I've actually seen those. I saw one of the videos that you did, and what you do, guys, is if you've got a wheel and you clip it on and you've got the colours around it, and then what happens is it looks very nice. But explain to people what it actually does when it's on there, apart from obviously stop you clipping your wheels.
Yeah, so it obviously protects against curb damage. So you put the base part on first, and then you'll clip the insert inside the base. So it acts like as the 5 mile an hour bumper for your wheel. 80% of damage is caused while you're just parking, manoeuvring, just pulling that, you know, up to the curb slightly. So that's what the product's for. It's to help protect. So it becomes a bumper. And then obviously if you do curb the product, you can just take out the pinstripe, turn it round, clip it back in, and then once it's been curbed quite a lot, you can actually replace the whole rim protect, or you can actually replace just the insert, depending on how severe the curbing has happened.
Okay, and where can you buy this product, Deborah?
So at the moment we're sort of in with we've just been approved for BMW and Mini OEM throughout the whole of China, which is one of the biggest things that we've been trying to do for a while, which is fantastic. But you can get them online. You can get them from Car ID, Auto Anything, Teslarati. Just there's so many different places that actually stock in different countries. So EV Annex. There's just so many. So if you go on, you can actually go on to www.rimprotec.com, which is RIMPRO-TEC.com, and there's a list of suppliers and stockists on there.
perhaps you can put the link in the bottom of the comments after we finish today, because at least then if anyone wants it, then they can buy it. So guys, it's a bumper for your wheels, and you know that's a blatant way of saying it. So it's a bumper for your wheels. So with that, you know, your wheels cost hundreds and hundreds of pounds, especially these days, you know, and for what you get with Rimpotech, you know, it's such a, you know, a more cost effective way of actually, you know, making your wheels look smart and look great. And that's the thing. It's, as you said, it's a bumper for your wheels, and for something like that, absolutely amazing. Go for it, guys. You know, at the end of the day, it's it'll be really good. And you've got it online, haven't you? You did a video of it the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, perhaps what you can do is, if anybody's actually on my Facebook, you can always share that video onto my Facebook page. And if anybody wants to look at that, and then come over to my Facebook page, Maxine English, and then basically it's an open end when it comes down to, it's a public place where my Facebook page is. And then basically with that, what you can do is you can have a look at it and see what it's all about. And if it's something that you want from Deborah, then go online and go and get it. At the end of the day, it'd be absolutely brilliant. So the one thing I wanted to talk to you about, because a lot of people will be like, how does she do that? Okay. Is you are a self-made millionaire. Now, a lot of people would sit there and go, yeah, well, you know, a lot of people get help with that, or, you know, they ask loads of people to come and help them do stuff, or make loads of phone calls, or do all the advertising for them, you know, and you get a lot of negative feedback with obviously the people that are, you know, that have come to me and gone, oh yeah, millionaires, you know, like that. Now, the thing is you've gone from 43 cents sitting in your pocket to being a self-made millionaire, and you've already told me you and Chris done everything all on your own. Yeah. Which, hats off to you, that is absolutely amazing. You know, how did you get from 43p or 43 cents to a millionaire? I mean, how long did it take you? What kind of things did you have to do?
It's blood, sweat and tears. That's exactly what you have to do. You know, it come to the point where we'd won a flooring job, and over 3 days I mixed 14 tons of concrete for a flooring job, and Chris laid the flooring job, and this was by a hand mixer. I had blisters and blood coming out of my hands because I knew I had to get that so we could start the patent process. And that is exactly what it is. It's about getting out there and working as hard as you can. I mean, it nearly killed me. I ended up in hospital twice. Wow. Because I overworked. I had a collapsed lung because of not eating properly, over-exhaustion. And, you know, it's not a good way to be. And I really don't advise it. But if you want something that bad and your determination is there, you go and get it. And you will, no matter how you want it, you will get it. And it's through hard work. You know, we did our first job. Then we ended up becoming there was me and Chris doing all the flooring work. I was going and getting the flooring jobs in. Chris was laying the flooring. I was actually on site. I was doing everything. And then we ended up winning quite a large contract, which helped us that next process in the patent process. So every step of the way, it's like, right, we didn't want to take investors. We had people at the beginning wanting to come on board, and we actually made our decision right from the thing. It's not about the money, and it really wasn't about the money at all. It was about proving, because of what we'd gone through at school. Chris always got told he was the one that was always the guy that would leave school and never achieve anything either. So we had a lot to prove. And so, you know, that's what we did. We went out there and we proved through hard work, determination, and never giving up, you can do it. And so can anybody out there do the same.
So there you go, guys. It's great from the lady herself, from 43 cents to a self-made millionaire. If you want something that badly enough and you want to prove to people that you can do it, you can do it. You just got to change this. You just got to make sure that mindset is in the right place, because once you know, you're on that like anything, once you get started and you're moving forward, you know, it just snowballs, doesn't it? And it gets bigger and it gets bigger. And, you know, and I can see it even with myself. I've gone from the shop to now doing broadcasting, which was, you know, for 20 minutes, then 40 minutes. Now I'm doing 3 shows a week. And from that, then doing the public speaking, then writing the book. And, you know, and then going on doing more and more. And as you said, it just snowballs into, you know, a massive thing. And that takes me perfectly on to my next thing for you. You have a book coming out.
I do. Now, I've actually been writing this book for the last 10 years. I've actually had notes going down, obviously in between everything else that I've had to do to get the businesses where they are. But I've had notes and I've been jotting things down that I always wanted to write something, whether it was a diary or something, but now it's obviously everything that's happened, the signs, the intuition, the gratitude, the tornadoes. I was actually talking to quite a well-known person who does quite a lot of promotions on TV and different series in the States. And they listened to the story and said, wow, this is not just a book, this is a film. And it made me start thinking, and I was like, do you know, I actually need to start writing more about this book. We're actually going to be launching the book in March. It's on its second editing stage now in New York. We have a couple of agents and a couple of publishers interested in the book, but we've not made up our mind yet whether we're going to self-publish. Because what we're wanting to do, the proceeds from the book, we want to donate that to our charities, which is the homeless and also with post-traumatic stress and depression.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so when you get your person doing your film, just send them over to me afterwards, because then we can do mine. So if you don't ask, guys, you don't get.
So that's one of my tips, I think, is always ask. Because if you don't ask, you won't ever get. No. And I think that's one of the things I actually learned.
It's brilliant. Okay, so as I said, the first time that me and Deborah met was in September. Now, not only is this lovely, amazing lady gone through so much in her life, is that we had a lovely talk when we first met, didn't we, Deborah?
Yeah, we did.
We met first thing in the morning. It must have been around about 7:45 in the morning. And you brought all your stuff in, you had your suitcase and you brought your husband and you was an absolute nervous wreck. You come in and you was like, I'm going to be speaking about my life and I've never done it before. And, you know, and at the time I didn't know anything about you. It was all brand new. I've never met you before. And it was very much that you come to the Fear Fighter and we had a bit of a chat, didn't we? And we sat down for about 20 minutes and you told me your story and she had me in tears. And I was like, there was no reason for you to be scared to tell this story because you've got an amazing story to tell. And once you got yourself up there, you done this amazing talk. And it was like every single person in that room was gobsmacked by what you've been through, which is obviously what we spoke about earlier. And now that you've actually been on stage and you've done that and you've done your talk and you've overcome your first steps of your fear of public speaking, how did you feel afterwards?
Still nervous for about 2 hours after I'd got up there. I think it was, absolutely fine. You know, it's something that I'm really concentrating on throughout next year, is doing public speaking. I'm also mentoring at the moment for the Princess Trust. And I'm going to be doing my own life coaching and mentoring come February. But we are going to do something a bit different this time, though, because we want to actually get hands-on. So we're going to be hands in the business who we mentor and we life coach, and we're going to help them through the steps. It could be a new invention, that sort of thing. So we are going to be hands on, and we're only going to be taking between 5 and 10 people. So we can actually dedicate our time and efforts into helping other people that want to do the same thing that we've done. Absolutely fabulous. That's what I like to hear.
So with everything that you're doing, you said you're with the Princess Trust and you're doing your life coaching, your business coaching, which obviously you've got all that underneath your belt. So it's like, you know, anybody that comes to you will be absolutely amazed by what you've gone through and what you have to offer them. Because at the end of the day, you've been there, you've done it, you've got the T-shirt. Yes, you're still learning like everybody is. Absolutely. But there is so much that people can learn from you. So there's something that we did talk about, and your new thing that you're doing, your new charity that you're doing in the UK, but you're also taking it to New Zealand as well, because you put yourself between the two places, don't you? UK and New Zealand.
Yeah.
And that is your journey bags. Explain to everybody what your journey bags are.
Right, so we've been doing the journey bags for a while, but we want to take it on to a bigger scale. So the journey bags are basically people that are homeless. And, you know, it's amazing. They have some amazing stories, and all they need is a little bit of time, your time, to sit with them and listen to these guys that are on the streets. Some guys want to be on the streets, and, you know, you can't help them because that's the life they want. But there's an awful lot out there that don't want that. You know, you've got to go out there, and you've got to be with these people, and you've got to learn their stories. There's people that have been fighting for the country, you know, and they've got post-traumatic stress. They've become sort of insular. They daren't communicate with other people, so they become on the streets. So the way we found that we can communicate is to give these bags out. And it's like sleeping bags, soap, flannels, towels, toothbrush, that sort of thing, with leaflets in there of self-help groups and all that. So we started it on a small scale, but now I've just got back from America, and I saw a war veteran drinking out of a puddle on the street, and it broke my heart. I was like, this is America, and people are having to drink out of puddles to get water. What the heck is going on? So I've actually come back, and we're going to be setting up the charities in the UK and also in New Zealand, and we're going to be providing all these bags to the homeless. We're going to be getting counsellors to go out there and talk to these guys, and we're going to try and help them get some stability in their life and get the help that they actually need. You know, there's teens on the streets that have fallen out with their parents, and their parents are missing the kids. They don't know where they are. And, you know, we need to get to these people before it's too late, before they get lost. And so this is what we're doing now. So we're going on a bigger scale. We want to try and get as much help out there as we can, to obviously put these bags together, raise some funds. All the money from the book is going to be donated to this charity. And we're going to go for it. We're going to try and turn some people's lives around. And, you know, if we can help one person, that's the best thing we can do.
Okay, so is it for when you've sorry, Richard's just Fred just put I can't hear anything, and then he just put I had my mute on.
Oh, bless.
But at least he knows now.
That's good.
It's a good thing. So guys, you know, something that's really, really important and obviously close to everybody's heart, and if it's not, it should be, is that it could happen to anybody, no matter who you are. You know, look at Deborah. She had everything in her life, got a house ripped away, ends up being homeless with her children and her husband. Now, you know, she's been to America. She's seen, you know, a war veteran drinking out of a puddle, which, you know, in this day and age, no one should be drinking out of anything like that at all. You know, and to be honest, there shouldn't be people that are homeless either. You know, charity should be helping the homeless out, and especially people that have like served their country. And it is such a heartfelt thing. You walk past people and you're like, you know, you feel sorry for them and you want to help them. But at the same time, you don't know the best thing to do to help. So if you've got people out there, Deborah, is it that you're looking for funding to help with that? Or are you looking for people to help you pack bags? Or are you looking for people to donate sleeping bags or toothbrushes? Or, you know, what is it, what all the bits that you actually need for the actual charity?
Right, so we already have the suppliers that supply us the sleeping bags and everything else in place. So really, we need, obviously, funding. It'd be fantastic. You know, the more funding we get, the more bags we can get out there and the more people we can get help. We want to actually later on next year is bring in like containers with shower units and that sort of thing. We've got a few things that's going on. We've got 3 or 4 people that are going to be helping with this already that are based in London. And so we've got a few people around us that have got some fantastic ideas that we're all going to pull together, but we really do need funding. I mean, and you know, you can never get enough. It's the worst thing having to do is ask for funding. You know, what we've done so far is completely out of our own personal pocket. We've never asked for help before, but if we want to take this on a larger scale, we're going to have help. You know, we can't do it all ourselves. I mean, I've got a meeting on Monday. Hopefully we can, you know, find some warehousing so we can actually have somewhere to bring the stock over and start putting these bags together in London so we can actually start getting them out there.
Brilliant. So are you looking for commercial funding, or are you quite happy to take donations from the general public as well?
every sorts of funding. If they are passionate about, you know, helping people with depression, post-traumatic stress, the homeless, the teens on the streets, you know, and doing something so we can try and get these people the help they need, then, you know, please, anything. And it doesn't matter, you know, if it's a pound, you know, it's anything's better than nothing. And it's just fantastic that people want to help, even by donating some of their time when everything's up and running, you know, to go and give out the bags and talk to these guys that are on the streets, because they have got some amazing stories to tell you guys. And, you know, they just need someone to listen to them and be there for them.
And if you want some help giving them out, I'm quite happy to give you my time to do that.
Thank you. That's lovely.
Count me in for that one, my lovely, because at the end of the day, you know, whether I give someone an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours of my time, you know, to give something out that's going to perhaps even save their life, stop them from becoming ill, or even help them out, or even saying hello, because some people don't even get a hello that day, you know, on a particular day. You know, people just walk past them, and I can imagine how not only degrading that feels, but how self-loathing that is, and how down you must feel because of that. You know, it must be so lonely out there. So, you know, God.
It is, and that's the problem, is because these guys have got anxiety and depression, and, you know, you'll find that they just can't, that they don't like communicating to big groups. But if you're giving them something to just try and help them, you sort of, it's the first step in, so you can actually then go and start talking and just ask them how their day is, you know, how's your day been? And, you know, they just want some company. You know, they might not talk to you straight away, but, you know, over time, you gradually see the same faces, and they gradually see your face as well. And you become, you know, you're there, and you know, that person that they can connect with, and then they start talking, and that's all they need. But like I said, there's obviously homeless that don't want to change, that's their life and that's the way they want to be. But there's a lot out there that have not asked to be homeless, you know, and kind of lost something through business failure, and they're embarrassed, you know, and that's the only way they know. There's so many people out there we've spoken to, and it's been through arguments with their families, mental health, you know, business failure, and anxiety, depression, mental health. And it's so sad to see. The governments need to get behind this and do something.
Perhaps we can all get together and put it to number 10.
Absolutely. Let's get a petition going.
Why not? Let's start it.
Absolutely.
Get your paper out. Stop your drawings, pen and paper, petition. That's the thing. I mean, if we do a petition on Facebook, I think it's 100,000 signatures that you need, and it has to go to Parliament.
Perfect. So, let's get it done. Let's get it done.
Let's get it started. Start writing that petition out, girl. So yeah, so guys, so if there's, you know, if you're thinking about putting any donations in or helping, you know, if it comes down to your time with Deborah and what she's doing with this new charity, you know, absolutely brilliant. Deborah, say for instance, someone wanted to help you this evening, how would they donate to you? What do they need to do next?
They can actually just email me at deborah@debchester.com. I'll put that up as well, the link, and then we can just get talking, and we can tell them the progress that we're making and how everything's coming together and the help we're going to need and everything else, and go from there.
Brilliant. So there you go, guys. So now, not only have you spoken to a lady that's told you how to become a millionaire, she's told you the inventions and what to do next. She's talked about her life and adversities that she's gone through, so she can go through that. You can go through everything as well. And she's also said that she's doing a charity that she can help you, you know, well, people that you may know, but also get you to donate time, or whether it comes down to funding or anything else. So you may know somebody that needs to, you know, needs to do something with their life. They might feel depressed themselves and actually want to help a fellow depressed person, you know, to give them meaning to their life. You know, if you're sitting at home, you know, for a few hours, come out and give some out, have a chat to people. And that's what it's all about. And as I said to Deborah just now, I'm quite happy to give my time, because at the end of the day, you know, it only takes that one person to make that person feel special, you know, and that person is the only person that they've spoken to all day. And us humans, we need communication. You know, we need to feel loved. And no matter when people turn and they go, no, we don't need to be loved, we do. Yeah. You know, we're never meant to be on our own, you know, whether that is a partner, or whether that is children, or whether that is parents or family, you know, or friends. We was never born to be on our own, and I can imagine how hard that must be. And yeah, I'm quite happy to do that for you, darling. That's absolutely fine. Right, so you've also got the other one, the Foundation to Support Parents and Children that have gone through trauma. Now, that's a part of Journey Bags, isn't it?
It is. It leads on to that as well. So it's the same sort of charity that we get doing, because a lot of children and teens that are on the streets do have post-traumatic stress or some kind of depression. It's amazing how many business people as well, you know, get to a certain point in their life and take their life because they feel as if they're failures. Well, in my mind, we want to actually tell these people there's no such thing as failure. Failure is the start of a new beginning. And, you know, we're all born in this world and we all leave this world. But in between, it's a journey. And that's what it's about. That journey is everything. And that you should never, ever look at one thing and go, do you know what? Oh, I'm starting this tomorrow, but I want a finishing date. Don't put a finishing date on it. Don't put pressure on yourself, because it's your journey. There's no start and there's no finish in between that journey. The start and the finish is when you're born and when you leave the world. That's your journey, and no failure at all.
Absolutely brilliant. See this lady, she's absolutely amazing, and you know there is so much inspiration there, Deborah, and I thank you so much for coming on again. I know obviously we had technical difficulties last time, and the fact is that you've come in this time and you've told your story again, and it's amazing. And thank you to everybody else that's come in tonight, because you know you've had so many people that have come on and spoke about what you've said. I mean, we're going to go through quickly some of the comments that you've got here. Obviously I'm going through them all. So you've got hello, which was Richard, Lady of the Hour, which is Adam. He comes on every week, which is amazing. Obviously we said about Richard. Adam put always turn the negative into a positive, which is exactly that. Jeremy came in and said good evening. I think he's had a few too many to drink. That's the reason why he's got lots of drinks out there. That's absolutely brilliant. Richard's put, hi Deborah, Richard Fay here. I'm a high functioning autistic. Richard also does broadcasting on global TV as well. So he's doing absolutely brilliantly because he has lots of anxiety himself. He goes through quite a few things himself. So for him to go out and do the broadcasting that he does, absolutely amazing. That the fact he's even got to that stage to actually be able to do that. Jeremy put, fortune favours the brave. Brilliant. Richard's put, Deborah, so proud of you achieving your dreams with dyslexia. And then you've got Adam said, hey, I'm back, everyone has a dream. And of course they are barriers, but you just have to overcome them, sometimes on your own, sometimes with support. And that is exactly true, isn't it? It's absolutely amazing.
And you do need that support. You do need support.
Exactly. Hi, Deborah. Yo, Maxine. Hope you are well. Been a bit nuts, but doing okay. I guess I'm reaching out again. Absolutely brilliant. Will's gone through so much in his life when it comes down to addictions and stuff like that. And, you know, it's nice to know that there's other people on the other end to help. Will, we're always here to help, my lovely. All you've got to do, as you said yourself, is reach out. He's recovering from drink and drug addiction. He's a carer and also a volunteer at a rehab. I went one day at a time, and we can recover. Will, exactly. And if you're not doing nothing one day, I'm sure Deborah would be happy to take you to go and talk to some of the homeless people out there. And you know,
absolutely, yeah,
exactly that. Will's put powerless over thought. Sometimes it's kind of pointless to worry. If you don't have faith and believe in what you're doing, then you make a start to change. You guys are awesome. This reminds me of the recovery network helping each other. Absolutely brilliant. Gratitude is key. Recovery, inspiration, achieving dreams of life. Adam's put, we all have a dream. It's what we're going to do with it about to reach the goal. We'll have a 12-step program that I do. I work a list of gratitudes each evening, one day at a time, which is absolutely brilliant. So I've got my cat trying to get on my lap. You'll have to wait. Craig's put that you're an amazing woman. How nice is that? And got a pretty smile. So that's experience, strength and hope from Will. Obviously Fred said he can't hear nothing, but he can now. That's absolutely fine. Will's put, no, it's brilliant, mate. Being vulnerable is okay, and sharing is a beautiful thing that increases and uplifts our spirit and is inspiration for our peers. Thanks for your shares and keep coming back. Unity and service is part of the journey to achieving more than just success. I think it's a self-awareness and stability for not just self but others. God bless yous. Oh, bless.
Yeah.
I always get nervous when I openly share, asked to do a share, but I never know how I feel and who I will help. You're awesome. Thanks. See, all the, you know, there's things that we can help people with, and it's absolutely, you know, it's absolutely brilliant. The fact is that, you know, the reasons why we do things like this is because not only do you get to know us as people, and as you said, like when with people on the streets, is they get to know you, so they get to trust you, and, you know, they get to speak to you because they see you every week face to face. And the thing is that, sorry, and it's exactly the same when it comes to people on here. You know, people see me every single week, and that's the reason why I bring people like you in, Deborah, because, you know, for what you've gone through, and there's so much that you can teach others, that it just be, you know, it's an amazing thing to do. And I want to say thank you very much for being on this broadcast this evening, because I know we had a few testing times on Thursday, but I think we done this tonight because someone had to see of what we had to offer this evening. And I think even with people actually on the broadcast, I think it's helped some of them people to realise that be grateful for what you've got already. You know, gratitude is the main thing, and put that little thing in their pocket, because I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, the gratitude seed and the rock it's the first step.
Yeah,
like you say, you know, just taking one step at a time. You don't have to rush anything. You know, don't look and think, gosh, I want to be here in, you know, 2 or 3 years. If you've got to start, you know, if your mind's saying you've only just started and you've got a lot to deal with, you start that one step at a time. You know, it won't be long before you go in, oh gosh, I'm going to look at the future and I'm looking at 1 and 2 and 3 years ahead. But to start off with, you need to take that one step at a time until you know that you can cope with what's going to come around that corner.
Exactly that. So I want to say thank you, guys. We have gone over time again, but I think we did because we had to, because Deborah, you know, we had the problems that we had on Thursday. So you've got a little bit extra time with Deborah. You had a little bit extra time with me to make up for Thursday. And I want to say thank you for everyone that joined. We're going to go now, and it's been absolutely brilliant having you. I'll see you all on Tuesday. I've got Raj Singh on Tuesday doing Content Tuesday, and this time we're going to actually go a little bit in depth. You need to bring your tissues, because we're going to talk about domestic abuse, and we're going to delve in deep. And it's Content Tuesday, so it's not just about me interviewing someone. Raj is someone that used to be a police officer and has seen quite a lot himself. And obviously I've been through domestic abuse myself. So it's very much that we are going to dig in deep, and we're going to go way, way down with it. So if you want to tune in on Tuesday at 8 o'clock, I will be here with Raj. And, you know, absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much, guys, for being here. And thank you very much for Deborah. And guys, see you on Tuesday. Take care.
Bye.
And see you soon.